Hello, and welcome to this May Contain Spoilers Early Access Preview. My name is Jason, and today we'll be taking a look at Duskers, the latest game from independent game studio Misfits Attic. Now, Misfits Attic's previous release game was a rather intense puzzle game called A Virus Named Tom. You can currently see that playing in the background. Its colourful and somewhat cute appearance hid a rather devious and sometimes flat-out masochistic puzzle game, which required you to both think fast and react fast to flip tiles and avoid enemies, while also racing against a ticking clock to complete the various levels and sabotage your former employer. Now, I really enjoyed this game, and it helped cement Misfits Attic in my mind. The name Misfits Attic, I should say, in my mind. When Duskers was announced earlier this year, my interest was piqued, and when my colleague mentioned that she'd actually received some review keys, I very eagerly volunteered to give this new offering a try. So, without any further delay, allow me to present an early access preview of Duskers, a procedurally generated space-based roguelike RPG from Misfits Attic. Okay, so this is the main menu of Duskers. As you noticed, it has a very retro aesthetic to it, I will say. The idea behind it is basically you are playing a... In fact, you're not even too sure who you're playing at this point in time. Again, it's because it's an alpha, a lot of the story hasn't been fleshed out yet. I've heard various ideas bounced around by Tim Keenan, the developer, but I don't think even he settled on an actual story yet to go with it. So, you are this drone commander, and you interact with the world around you by basically using these drones through this remote terminal system. We're going to hop into the game in just a second and go through it all. But as you'll see here, everything is controlled by the keyboard. Although I have a mouse pointer, clicking on anything doesn't actually do anything. It's all keyboard based, so move the mouse off the screen and I can use the arrow keys to get through the menu, or just hit the highlighted letter and it'll start it straight away. So this is a brand new game. I've cleared my save data to start from scratch for this video, and this preview is just give you an idea of what's coming up with this game, or what this game's currently at, and then I'll be doing further previews as the builds increase and we get to different builds and more features are added, along with a final review upon release. So without any further ado, let's get this started. No, I'm not going to do the training because I've already done it. Okay, so we're now in game, and it goes through this whole boot system. Here's what's going on, here's what you've got. So we've got a crew of 1 and we got 6 days worth of fuel. Now from this point you can activate an emergency distress sequence, or you can choose not to. I am going to activate that, and as you see there are 4 vessels in range but no responses received. The idea again, this as I said, it's not been fleshed out entirely in the story, but it does cover that basically there's been some kind of massive apocalypse and almost all life in the galaxy has been, or in this section of the galaxy, has been wiped out. So there's a load of derelict ships and everything floating around, and not much else on that at the moment. So as you can see here, it gives me a recommended course of action. I can initiate manual contact with these other vessels nearby, or try and acquire the necessary resources for travel. In fact, I'm going to do both. So I'm going to hit enter to continue. So someone's modified this log externally. Yes, I would like to read it. So it's basically a summary of your objectives. Gather intel and logs from derelict spacecraft, gather resources, and search for survivors. And then if you get stuck, you can just trigger a reset from the main menu. So basically, if you get to a point where you can't progress any further, the reset restarts you over. Typical roguelike fashion, when you restart over, that's it, all your resources are gone. So this is the main map. This shows us where everything is. So we are this little blue arrow here, and these green dots that we're parked next to are other ships. And as you can see, each one, that's 3 days away, that's 2 days away, that's 2 days away, and you can see down here in the corner we've got our propulsion, which says we've only got 6 days worth of fuel. Jumps are required for jumping between star systems. Propulsion is for moving once you're in a star system. And I've got 2 scrap as well, which I can't do much with. So there's not really much I can do at this. If I wanted to, I could look at the drone configurations. Oh, I keep clicking on it. D for drone config. I've got 3 drones. They've got various abilities, and I'll go through the abilities once we start using them in the game, rather than trying to go through them all now. I've got my mothership. Again, no upgrades for that. And then modifications. You can buy extra things for the drones, buy health, things like that. Again, again, I've got 2 scrap. I'm not going to be able to buy much with that. So with that, let's get on board. So I'm going to hit B because I want to board this one. I've only got 3 drones. I'm going to take all 3 with me, so I'm just going to hit enter. So this gives you an overview of the ship. As you saw from the main screen, some of these were options you could see before you sort of jumped in and did anything. So there's no infestations on here, so that's good. We're not going to encounter anything. It's a pirate vessel, and the hull integrity is fine, but all the logs on here are corrupted, so we're not going to be getting anything out of those, I'd imagine. So I'm going to hit enter. So this is your overview. In fact, there are 2 overviews. So this is the grand overview. It lets you see where everything is on the ship, what you've unlocked. I can also press one of the number keys associated to the drone and take control of that drone directly. So I've got control of Orson at the moment. As you can see, I can turn it around, I can drive forward, back, change to a different drone. As you see, each drone has a slightly different colour sensor system as well. Orson and Tommy seem to have the same colour. And then you're Jeremy, who's green. So anyway, I'm going to select Orson, and as you see down in the bottom right hand corner, I've got this control panel window saying, oh yeah, you can do all these different things with commands. This game uses a lot of command base. I think this is genius personally. I think this is absolutely genius, and again, I find this a science fiction that I can really get behind, because you're in your main mothership, wherever that may be, and you're investigating these ships, and all you've got is this gritty little telecom system going back and forth between your drones so you can see what's happening. So I can send commands to it. So I'm going to hit A1, as it says in the flashing prompt. I can type A1 or open A1 and it will open that door. There you go, door's open. So I can move my drone out of this. So as we can see, this room's got scrap. There's not much else in here. Oh no, there's a generator as well. So that's the individual drone levels, and I can also hit space to zoom out, and I can see this overview of everything now. So now that I've started exploring it, I'm getting some of the areas light up. So drone 1 has got a gatherer add-on, so I can tell it to pick up that piece of scrap by just typing gather and hitting enter. So he's quite happy going to pick that up. Now we know drone 2's got a generator, so I can actually tell drone 2 I want him to go to room 3 and power that generator. Again, I could take control of him and drive him manually, or I could do it by the command line. So nav for navigate, which I cannot spell, but thankfully it auto-completes. So NAV tab completes it, and then you just type in where you want to go. So in that case, I want R3. Now you can also separate commands with a semicolon. I've not tried this yet, so if we say semicolon, generator. Ah, right, okay, I didn't do so. Navigate. Oh, as you can see, I failed to spell. So navigate drone 2, R3, colon, generator. So in he goes, and then he's going to process the generator command as well for us. So, brilliant. We can see another room there now. I could go straight into that room. However, we don't know what's in there. There could be other nasties in there. So this is where drone 1 comes in. He's got a motion sensor. And this is where it starts getting really interesting. So type motion, hit enter. I can see those rooms are clear. That scan's running back and forth, there's nothing in there. If I was to move drone 1, he'd stop producing that motion report. So I'm just going to leave him there for the minute and just grab drone 3. And I'm going to send him into room 2. So I'm going to open D3 up. And I'm going to do nav tab 3 R2. Off he trundles. So there's nothing really in here, to be fair. So I could also send him to R4. Oh, and I caught space and shifted that out. So because I've shifted out of that, I can basically take direct control of the drone then. And it's saying, who do you want to send here? So I've moved Orson, sorry, and we've just found something in here. So it looks like another drone. I can type info, hit enter, gives me a breakdown. So it tells me it's drone Twicky, it's destroyed, but I can swap out and get some extra components off it. So if I hit swap, enter, it's got a Gatling cannon on it. Well, always wanted one of those, so I'm going to take that. Again, I keep using the mouse. So I've now got a Gatling cannon on Orson, and as you can see, Orson's now showing this cone of fire in front of him. So if I wanted to use that Gatling, there you go, the Gatling gun is armed. As you can see, it's now gone orange. If I move, it's going to turn it off again though. So the Gatling gun is great if you know there's something nearby and you're not too sure of it. So say there's an enemy, in fact, I'll tell you what, let's see if there is. So just zoom out, motion. Okay, there's nothing in there, that room is empty. If there was something in there, I could have turned on the Gatling gun, opened the door, and waited for it to come out and see if it could find me, and hope that I won the fight. Again, a Gatling gun isn't a catch-all solution though. The things you might find in here could be significantly more powerful than you. You've got no real way of telling that, so it's always best to play it safe, because if a drone is damaged, you can tow it back, providing you've got a drone with the tow capability. If a drone is destroyed, that's it, it's gone. So you then have to try and salvage anything you can off it using the swap command, and then take it back. So what we do know is room 4 has got a dead drone in it, and room 2's got some salvage. So what I'm going to do is swap drone 1 and drone 3. Yeah, so I'm going to do nav 1 R2 colon gather colon nav 3 R4 colon tow colon nav 3 R4 R1. So in theory, this command, if I've executed it correctly, should send 3 to room 4, let him grab that other drone, and then tow him back to R1, ready to go off the ship. So off the drones go, back and forth. Okay, so I've gathered one, and my tow didn't work either, so I've sent one drone all over the place. Oh, of course, it's a destroyed drone, so tow doesn't work, my bad. Right, so I'm going to do gather all, so we can pick all that up. I'm going to open D5, and then I'm going to navigate 1 into D5. Yay, more scrap. Now it's always worth taking control of a drone to have a look around yourself, because you never know what you might find. So for example, the auto discover didn't see this fuel canister in here. So fuel is what we need to get around and about. So what I can do then is tab back out. In fact, I could just do it from here, and I could just hit gather, enter, and I'm going to fill up with fuel. No, that's a bit rubbish, there's nothing in there. So that's it, that's the first ship. We've cleared it all out, there's nothing left. So I'm going to do nav 1 to R. Nav 1 to R1. So you can move, if you're moving drones to the same location, you can basically do navigate, drone, 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 then location. Or drone, 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 drone if you've got 5. So they're in, I'm going to close that off, and then I'm going to hit exit to leave the level. And it gives you a nice statistic overview of what you unlocked, what you've got in there. As you can see, I didn't do too well. I got some scrap, that was about it. I got no fuel, and I've survived 1 day. And we've got the Gatling gun upgrade. So it's back to the main ship now to see what we can find. So now we know what we've got in there, I can bring up the modifications. And I can see if we've got anything worth actually spending on upgrades. So I could buy a speed increase for some of the drones, make them a bit faster. I can buy some extra motion sensors. Again, they're not expensive and it gives you 25, so I'll wait until I've used a few more of those. What else we got in there? Gatherer, again, it's not showing any errors, so I don't need to repair it. That is one thing in this game, is that the technology is slowly decaying. Obviously, you're in the future and you're just trying to cobble things together to get stuff to go through. Stuff fails, so you may find that your motion sensor is not as reliable as it could be. I've had one gameplay where the remote connector that lets me see where all the drones are in the overview stopped responding for about 30 seconds, which made me panic because I had motion scanners running and I was like, no, I can't see anything! It's just like, okay, I can go back and I can take direct control of each individual drone, but I can't see my big overview. I can control the doors, but I can't really tell what's hidden behind each of those things. So it does create a sense of dread when those things happen. And you're like, no, please, just work, let me out. So there's a few others. So I can buy more bullets for the Gatling gun as well. I can buy additional generators, things like that. So I'm not going to spend any money on any upgrades at the moment. I'm not really encountering anything that makes me want to increase the HP or anything like that, so I'll leave that as it is. And then I'm going to send us to, let's have a quick look at K. So it's a salvage ship. It tells you over here on the right hand side all about the ship as well. So that's a salvage ship. That has got some infestation type on it. It's not that old, and it's, again, 2 days ago, and I've not visited it before either. Again, something that's 17 years old. Again, it's got an infestation, and then that's 24 years old. In terms of ship ages, these aren't particularly old. I've seen ships that are sort of a good couple of hundred years old as well. So that's when you start seeing hull integrity issues and things like that. So for now, let's go to K. Travel for T. There we go. As you can see, that's depleted my propulsion as well then, because I use that to get there. And then I'm going to board that ship. I'm quite happy with my drones. What I'm tempted to do... No, I'm going to keep the motion sensor and the Gatling gun on the same drone for now. I could move them about if I wanted to. I could reassign them. I'm not going to, though. I'm just going to leave them where they are, and then I'm going to board this ship. Okay, so scanning it inconclusive. We don't know what's on this ship. We just know it's got good hull integrity. And then there's a bit of a log in here. It is corrupted, and the idea is it slowly paints a picture of what's happened. But yeah. No way you communicate back. Keep moving. Rations are low. No time to double back to any of the ships to see if you've left a response. Okay, that's interesting. That's a new log entry. That's almost like there's someone else out there. It's entirely possible. It does say look for survivors, and again, it's not been confirmed either way. Right, so let's go. I'm going to open the door again. I'm going to move one. Let's get him out into the corridor. Now, I haven't found any instances where the first room has been filled with stuff that would possibly kill me. Now, whether they exist or not, I don't know, and I should possibly get into the habit of motion sensing before I get off. But I guess it depends on how you play. I'm quite happy just to open the door for now. If there was something out there and I found it quite quickly, I could have just driven back as fast as I could and locked the door behind me. As you can see, this door is already open, so again, I don't think there's anything dangerous around here, because if the door was open, it would have probably wandered on through and decided to say hi when I got off at the airlock. So we've already got some scrap, and we can see there are 2 generators. So if I navigate to R3 colon generator, and then I'm also going to run motion. There we go, there's our red bip. So we know there's something in that middle room. So what I could do is open door D7 and herd whatever's in there into that outside room. And maybe keep it out there for the time being. I'm not going to do that, because I know there's some fuel in the top room, although we don't know if there's anything in that top room as well at the moment. And I'm quite happy to go around it for the minute, explore everywhere else, and then see if we can find out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move 1 into R3. 1, R3. So as I said, I actually thoroughly enjoy this part of the game. This is sort of right up my alley for sci-fi. Yeah, so the top one's free as well. So I'm going to open D4 and then nav 1 R2. The whole command line interface is elegantly done. It's simple to use. There's a full-on help command if you get stuck, so you can basically see advanced commands. So opening and closing the airlocks. If you can toggle a door by basically opening it with its name. You can also do close all, which closes all powered doors. Open all the powered doors. Probably not a good idea, because you never know what quite you're releasing like that. I tend to do 1 door at a time. And again, as you see, you can toggle specific doors as well. So yeah, exit finishes the mission, but you need to make sure all your drones are in the docking bay. Help is this command. Info shows you info about what's in the room. Again, navigate you've seen me use more than enough times and spell it wrong every time. Opening the doors, open, close, all powered doors connected to the specific rooms. Okay, I didn't know you could do that one. Ooh, status. And then swap you saw me use earlier. So there's also advanced commands. So alias, anyone who's used Linux will probably recognise aliases. You can create an alias for another command. So if I had, say I had a command that was release the drones, and it basically moved all of the drones out of R1 into R3, I could just do release the drones, and it would just automatically get them all out there for me. Clear clears the console views a commandeer. Ooh. I did not know that. That's a new one, I must admit. I didn't go through all of these. So you can actually commandeer a ship. So if you find another ship that's in better condition than your own, you can steal it. Transfer your stuff onto it and steal it. I like that one. Self-destruct the drone. Dock is useful if you want to move your landing craft around. If there are multiple airlocks, you can move your landing craft around and put it elsewhere. And picks up dropped items. So what I'm going to do is just gather all from one, since he's found loads of stuff in there. Yay, fuel! So we've got 1 day of propulsion fuel there. And we know D3 is free, so we scanned it earlier, so I'm going to open D3, navigate R1, D3, no, not R1, 1, D3. Now I'm going to close D4. I'm going to close D3 as well. Now we know there's something nasty in R5, so what I'm going to do is trigger the motion sensor, open D5. Whatever's in there is going out of there. There we go, he's moved along. I'm now going to have a nose in his room there. So navigate 3 and... Do you know what? I can actually move 2 as well because he's only powering the doors. I'm not going to need to open any doors now because we can basically get straight through to that airlock and get out. So R5. While they're coming, I'm going to gather those. Okay, so we've got a live drone in R5 as well. We've got Corey there, who is a live drone. Use swap to exchange upgrades. So I'm going to just move the ship around to the A2 dock. So dock A2. I'm then going to move. No, I'm not going to navigate to R1 colon A2. I did it the other way around. Should open the door first. Never mind. So off he goes. So tow. There we go, so the drone's flashing blue now, I've hooked it up, so I can take that out. So I'm basically just going to navigate both of him and 3 back to R1. That's it, they're in there now. I'm going to close that door, and then I'm going to exit. So there's my summary. I've got that drone had lure and pry. Pry lets you open up a door by forcing it open, and lure is one that lets you basically lure monsters out. You put it down and it tries to draw whatever else is in there out to you. So with that, let's head back to our main ship and see where we can go next. Here we are back at the overview once more, so let's go for the next ship along, so it's just going to be N. So again, a lot of it at this point in time is just gearing up as best you can, and as like many roguelikes, it's gearing up as quick as you can and getting as much stuff as possible that should hopefully keep you alive. Travel to the ship and board the ship. So it's a Class C barge, it's got an infestation. Now as we saw earlier, we've got an extra drone, so I can bring him along. So that's a full squad of drones now, we've got 4 drones. And I'm going to change the loadout on this one. I'm going to take that Gatling gun off, and I'm going to assign the Gatling gun to the guy with the lure and the pry. Cool, I'm happy with that. Let's get on. Okay, so this one's got an infested on it as well. Hull integrity's good. And we've got a little bit of a log there explaining a bit more of the story. Yes, it looks like we're not the only survivor out here. So, first of all, let's make sure everything's clear. It's also worth mentioning, I've not mentioned this so far, but the spaceships are randomly generated, so what you see every time you connect to one could vary. I know the first few are all very similar. The first when I played it through, a lot of these were in a similar area, similar size, so I'm guessing it's more to bring you into the game and make sure you sort of understand what's going on before it throws you in at the deep end. But other than that, there's not anything sort of really major about it that's any different. So let's have a look around, see what we've got here. So we've got a generator, so I can power that. We've got a computer interface as well, which is always useful. And then there's nothing in here by the looks of it. So I'm going to park this guy here and just set his Gatling on. There we go. And let's generate and power everything up. So, and again, this is why I love the flexibility of this command system for being able to do this. So we're going to take 3 and join him to the interface, and we're going to take 2 and stick him on the generator. So nav 2 3 R3 colon generator colon interface. There you go, there's the power, there's the interface. So the power is the obvious one, it lets you power up all the doors, open, close them, etc, etc. The interface is a little bit different and it lets you control certain parts of the ship. So I can do a ship scan, see what's here. I've got a couple of bits of scrap in that room. Now, you saw me already explore that room with Drone 4, there was nothing in there. So by using the ship scanner, you can basically see stuff that wasn't in there originally. It lets you find more scrap, so it's always a good idea. Grab an interface, check, see what's in there. Now, I'm not sure if D4 is open or is sorry, not D4. R2 is free of creatures or not. So I'm going to navigate in there. So navigate 1 R3, and then we'll run the motion scanner again. Ah, okay, so I don't know if there's anything in R2, but I definitely know there's something in R5. Unfortunately for whatever's in R5, there's also a sentry gun in there. So, as you saw earlier, we've got control of the terminal, so I'm just going to go defense, enter. There's nothing in there anymore. I'm also going to open D2 and see if anything wanders in from another room. Because if it does, that's going to get gunned to the face as well. I'll leave one where he is for now. Oh, there was something in there. Not anymore. Gonna close D2, do the same for D10. This is the best thing, is once you open doors, whatever is in that room is tend to wander around and have a look around, and at which point, within about 30-40 seconds, you normally know if it's there or not. As you hear, you get that little ping to say, hey, I've wandered into this room, and then it gets filled full of laser. So that's always good for me. Can never have too many lasers. So we'll assume there's nothing else in the nearby rooms. As I said, I can't scan R2 at the moment, so what we'll do is we'll turn the defences off. I have forgotten to do that before, and I've sent a drone in, it's been shot to pieces by the defence, and then I've sent another one in to recover it, and again forgotten to turn the defence off, so I've cost myself 2 drones before I even realised what I was doing. So yeah, always pay attention to what you're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to navigate 1 to R4, colon, gather all colon, navigate R5, colon, navigate 1 R5 even. In fact, we need to open the door first anyway before we do that. So then D5, colon, navigate 1 R5, go. In fact, what I'm going to do is just move forward. I'm going to move forward manually. Just drag him back a bit. That's awesome. So if you don't press the arrow keys, you can send your drones in and follow them around, which is always fun. He's got a bit stuck. Come on, gather. There's our sentry turret there against the back wall as well. So from this room, I can do this, and I can see that pretty much all the rooms appear to be free. Now, one thing it's worth mentioning is that the motion scanner is exactly that. If something is sat in one of those rooms and is still, you're not going to see it, which is why I tend to leave one of the drones sat there for a while, not doing anything, just so I can get a better idea of what's going on. I've been caught out by this before. I've basically gone into a room, full tilt, and then not paid. Basically, I've left the drone on its own to run my commands, and then found out I've got an explosion warning as the drone gets killed by whatever is hiding in there. So don't rely on the motion. Don't do a quick scan and go, yeah, it's clear, go on in.
if you're not too sure, take control of the drone, drive it in manually just to double check. So speaking of taking stuff in manually, I am going to take Corey here into D4, but I'm going to stick him in the doorway. Gatling gun on, D4 open. Now if I move him, it's going to disengage the Gatling gun, so I'm just going to leave him here for a second, see if anything wanders into view. It looks like we're safe. And again, I can always back out really quickly if I find something not too pleasant. Okay, so we've got a drone in here, so I can't tow it, but I can get one of the guys in here to tow it out for me. So Tommy's got the tow. I'm going to move him away from that console. Navigate 3 R2 and then colon tow. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to make sure it's worth towing and it's not dead. So info 4. I know John is dead. That's not very helpful. In that case, let's see if he's got anything useful we can steal. Ooh, speed boost and a lure. Excellent. Well, I've already got a lure on this guy, so I don't think I need another one. I suppose it's good scrap, actually, though. So I'll leave him here. Jeremy's got the most space, so I'm going to take Jeremy. Okay, fine. Basically, I've moved Jeremy away from the power inlet, so there's now no power going to the rest of the system. So I'm going to bring him in and swap and steal this guy's loot. As I said, I can swap stuff in and out, so speed boost is quite nice because, as you see, I now move a bit faster. So I can go back with all that speed and power the generator again so I can activate the doors. Okay, so nothing else has triggered the motion sensor, so I'm quite happy that we can proceed. So I'm going to go into D10 next. I've got another generator for powering another section of the ship. D3, which brings us back to where we started, and some more scrap as well. So I'm going to gather that. Honestly, I really do enjoy the way that the whole drone sensors light up the area as they scan and they fade out. So, for example, I scan that generator, look away from it, and it just slowly fades out again. As you turn your back on it, it's plunged into darkness as the drone can't see it. It's really clever how that works. And again, it's a really simple aesthetic. There's no, it's not. I don't know what it looks like without all the rendering effects on it, but that could be some bog standard textures. I believe the game's made in Unity, judging by the launcher as well. So it could be very simple textures in that, and then just the whole cosmetic effect over the top of it. And I do really like this effect. It helps build that whole atmosphere. That you are literally looking at this through a grainy CRT monitor, trying to figure out what's going on. Well, maybe they have something better than CRT monitors in the future, but you get what I mean. It's a broken scanner kind of thing. So I can't remember if D9 was clear or not, so I'm just going to do another motion scan. Yes, it is. D9. Oh, D9 is not powered. So I could power that if I wanted to open it, or I could get the guy with the pry. Where is he there? Corey. So what I'm going to do is get the guy with the pry to just come and nudge this door open for us. Pry for D9. Pop, opens the door. Okay, so we've got some scrap in here. There doesn't appear to be anything hostile. Oh, we've got some fuel as well. Again, fuel's like the lifeblood you need to keep exploring. And this is open too. Is there anything in here? Some scrap. Not much else, so it looks like we're good. So that would be the last of it then in that case. So in that case, what I can do is I can probably put 3 and 4 back out of the way and just gather the rest of the information. So navigate 2, 3, 4, R1. I'll take control of 1, stick him in the other room. Gather all. As you can see, the pathfinding's pretty good. The drones tend to trundle back on their own. I've had a few issues where they've collided with each other or where they've gotten stuck. I've opened a rather more long-winded route round between areas, and they've gotten stuck trying to find their way around it. It doesn't seem to be happening as much anymore. They would have struggled with that route previously. So it's nice to see that with all the updates that are being pushed out, little things like that are getting fixed, and they're no longer sort of issues. Like they wouldn't be game breaking anyway. They're just mildly annoying. But they are getting fixed. The developers have been extremely active on it. I mean, they pushed a patch the day before early access hit. I think we're in 2.1 from 2.0, which again, on the night of early access, it's just what you need, a little bit of a boost. Let's fix some minor bugs. And it does, I must admit, I'm not a big investor of early access games, purely because I've been bitten too many times. But I was a massive fan of a virus named Tim, as I mentioned earlier. Sorry, a virus named Tom, as I mentioned earlier. And I kind of felt, Misfits Attic, I really want to give this a try. And so, again, I was ready to purchase it on early access, and my colleague Christine got the key come through saying, "Hey, you liked a virus named Tom, they're doing something else." I was like, "Yes, please." So yeah, it's a game that I can see having a lot of potential with, especially as it improves and gets better. Having seen what a virus named Tom was on release, and it's, again, if you haven't seen a virus named Tom, I talked about it in the intro to this video, it's well worth a look. If it maybe something you picked up on the Steam sale, it's in your library, do take a look at it. Even look at some of the videos online. It's a good game. And Duskers, I feel, has the potential to be so much more than what it currently is. And given Tim's track record, Tim Keenan and the rest of Misfits Attic, I have high hopes for Duskers, I must admit. So I'm going to leave it there. This has been a preview of patch... I'm going to double check it actually, I'll get it out of here. I'm sure it's 2... I'm sure it's 1.2, I'm sure it's 2.1. But let's find out. Let's get my drones out of it. So my final statistics, got some fuel, jet fuel, scrap collected, data 5.5, yeah. And I've got the lower end speed boost. So let's drop out to the main menu. Cool, there we go, we're back here. And then I'm just going to exit the game. Again, it's a roguelike, so the moment you exit, it saves your game, so you can't restart. And there you go, you're alpha version 0.22. So this video, and again, I'll state this, I'll add this in the comments, is done for version 0.22. So I will be reviewing this as new versions are pushed, new features are added. I'm going to come back and do sort of a couple of additional previews on it as well. If I can ever get around to it, I might do some live streams of it as well. Depends how popular it is with other people. I know some people just don't dig command line games, but I personally think this game has a lot of potential. And if you're not a big fan of early access and those kind of backers, wait for it to come to release. But I do think it's going to have a lot of... I do think it's going to be a good game with a lot of potential. And if it doesn't hit what I think it can do, I mean, that's probably a bit fair because I'm now projecting my opinions on it. But if this game can be half as good as what I really hope it could be, it would still be massively fun. And again, I would highly recommend it at that point. At this point, as I said, early access, if this is your thing and you like messing around with games in early access and you don't mind the bugs and the errors here and there, especially if you like giving feedback to the developers, if you post on the Steam forum, the guys from Misfits Attic are very good looking up bugs, trying to find fixes to it. There was a bug with my recording software. I was using Fraps for the first half of this video, so you probably noticed the frame rate was a bit clunky and the video wasn't brilliant. I've switched to Shadowplay now and it's been perfect, but they've already acknowledged there's a couple of issues with OBS and Fraps that they are working to fix at the moment. So again, active feedback from a developer group, I can dig that. I'm quite happy to get behind that and say, yeah, do you know what? This has potential, and from what you guys are showing on the forum, I think you can do it. So yeah, keep an eye on this. You can always add it to your Steam wishlist so you can see what happens. And keep an eye on our channel and on the blog, and you'll probably see a few more things regarding Duskers as it evolves over the course of the, over the year. I believe it's due out, they're aiming for a end of 2015 release date. Again, something I should probably double check actually. But yeah, I believe they're aiming for the end of 2015 for a release date, at which point it will be interesting to see how far it comes by then. So anyway, I've been Jason, and this has been a May Contain Spoilers preview of Duskers. Thank you for watching.